These are the Tates Academy notes for lesson 8.5, finding volume and surface area of solids. So real world problems here. If we look at problem number 1 in the guided practice, they want us to find the volume of this figure right here. So it's a complex shape, so we have to establish what are the basic shapes in there, find the volumes of each, and then add them together. So that's the first thing that you need to do, is come up with your strategy. What is it you need to find the volumes of? So we see that we have a cone, and we see that we have a cylinder. So our strategy is to find the volume of the cylinder, find the volume of the cone, and add them together, and we'll have the volume of the entire figure. So looking at this shape, and it will help. I'm going to flip back and forth between two pages, that the smartboard and the internet there. So if you have your book open, you'll be able to look at that figure the whole time. But basic information that we need to have is that the cone has a radius of 12 and a height of, and they don't directly tell us the height of the cone, but we see that the cylinder has a height of 15, and then the total height of everything is 37 from the bottom of the cylinder to the top of the cone. So 37 minus the 15 would give us 22. So the height of the cone is 22. It has a height of 22. So those are the two that we need for the cone. And then for the cylinder, it has a radius of 12 also, and a height of 15. So to find volume of cones and cylinders, those are the two things you need to know. You need to know its radius and its height. So we've got that information now. Okay, so now we use that information and we write our formulas down. So we know we need to find the volume of a cylinder. So the cylinder is volume equals pi times the radius squared times the height. And the cone, the volume is 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times the height. Okay, so that's the first thing that you want to do after establishing what the two shapes are, is write their formulas down. So we know, again, the volume of a cylinder, that formula, pi r squared times the height, and a cone is 1/3 times pi times the radius squared times the height. So now we just plug in everything that we know. We do not know the volume, so V stays V. Pi is 3.14. The radius of the cylinder, of course, is 12, so 12 squared, and the height of the cylinder was 15. And for a cone, volume equals 1/3 times 3.14 times the radius, which again is 12, times the height, which is 22. So again, our first steps that we did was find the radius and the height of each shape. Then we write down our formulas, then we plug everything in. Now it's just a matter of typing this into your calculator. So when you do that, you will get 6,782.4 is the volume of the cylinder, and your cone, 3,315.84 is the volume of your cone. So they want the volume of both figures. So we found the volume of our cylinder. We found the volume of our cone. Now we would just need to add those two numbers together, and we'll have the volume of the total figure. So 6,782.4 plus 3,315.84. When we add those together, we get 10,098.24. 10,098.24. And they ask us to round this to the nearest whole cubic centimeter. So the whole number is the 8. Is the 2 big enough to change the 8? No. So our answer is 10,098 centimeters cubed. That's it. So it seems like a lot going on there, but you just have to take it one step at a time. One step at a time. Okay, the next part. Erase this. The next segment, you'll see in B, they're asking us to find the surface area. Okay, so the surface area of that exact same shape. So now we're talking about the outside region of the shape. So again, we know that we have to figure out what parts we need the area of. So notice that the cone is sitting on top of the cylinder. So if we're finding the surface area, the bottom of the cone and the top of the cylinder are not exposed. So we are not going to find the area of each of those circles. So the cone, we only need the curved region of the cone. So we do not need the circle. Not the circle. Again, the area is the exposed region. So the bottom of your cone is not exposed, so we are not going to find the area of the circle part of the cone. And then the same thing goes for the cylinder. The top of the cylinder is not exposed, so we're not finding that surface area either. So for the cylinder, we're finding the area of the curved region and one base, which is a circle. Okay, so we just need one of the two circles. We don't need the top of the cylinder or the bottom of the cone. So we write down our formulas. So cylinder and the cone. So we wrote down that we need one base. So we're finding surface area this time. So the surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Okay, so this gives us both circles, and we only need one of them. So we're going to modify our formula here to just pi r squared. Pi r squared gives us the formula, the area of one circle, and that's all we need. So we're just taking away the times 2 because we don't need both circles. So we need pi r squared, and then this part here is how you find the area of the curved region, so we need that. So we need to have the 2 pi r h. So that formula will give us what we need for the cylinder. And then the cone, your formula for a cone for the surface area is pi r squared plus pi r slant height. Okay, pi times the radius times the slant height. Okay, and we mentioned that we do not need the circle. So this gives us the circle, area of the circle of the cone, and we do not need that. All we need for the cone is the pi r l. This gives us the curved region. So that's all we need for that from that formula is the pi r l. So that's, you got to establish, what part of the formula do you need, and then you plug in everything that you know. Okay, so we have these two formulas for our cone and our cylinder. So we'll do the cylinder first. Area equals 3.14 times the radius, which we said is 12 squared, plus 2 times 3.14 times 12 times its height, which is 15. And again, from here, you just plug in everything into your calculator, and you'll get 1,582.56. So that's the area of the cylinder. Again, just the curved and one of its circles. For the cone, area equals 3.14 times its radius, which is 12, times its slant height, which is 25. Picture of the slant height. Here's your slant height right here. Shows you that it's 25. And that's the measurement. We don't need the height of the cone for area. We use the height for volume. We use the slant height for area. And the slant height of that cone, it tells us, is 25. Okay? So now, again, you just plug that into your calculator, and you'll get that the area equals 942. So we have our cone and our cylinder, just the regions that we needed. And now we add those two together. So 1,582.56 plus 942. When we add those together, we get 2,524.56. Once again, they're asking us to round to the nearest units spot. So the 4 is the whole number. So we look at the tenths, the 5, and it is big enough to change the 4. So 22,525, and its area, so centimeters squared. There's your total surface area. So key is to ask yourself, what is it that you need the volume or area of? Write your formulas that you need to find that for, and plug in your information, do the math, and then come up with your answer. Okay, develop a plan for solving the problem.